Alrighty, let's get to it. This is a complete voiceover, as the saw and grinding would just be overpowering in the noise department. So instead, you get to listen to me, oh my, and a little bit of that background music. I hope you enjoy the video. First things first, you need an idea, or better yet, a template like in this video. And make sure you're having fun. Be silly. Stay weird. You got your outline, and now you're in the proper attire. Now it's time to cut with either a trim saw, or what I'm using, a good old tile saw. When you're cutting, try to make it as close as possible to the outline. When you're starting out, I do suggest being a centimeter or so away so that you avoid unnecessary chipping that can cause a little bit of frustration. Sometimes it's not really a small chip, and you guessed it, it leads to real frustration. So yeah, this wasn't scripted. This is what can happen when you're making a cut and the rock decides that it doesn't want to be the shape that you planned for it. So rewatching this clip was kind of funny, just looking at my expression of, what the hell just happened here? Yeah. I guess this heart just didn't want to fly, so let's scrap the wings. Peace out, wings. Take two. If you're using a continuous diamond blade, or better yet, a trim saw lapidary blade, you don't have to worry about cutting your fingers. If you've worked with these blades before, you know that it is near impossible to actually nick yourself. So use at your own discretion and just be smart. There's no need to keep your finger on that diamond blade, so let's focus on just cutting the rock. So here's me cutting and shaping the rock. It's workshop time. Turn on the water pump, which is underneath the table, turn on the cab machine, and make sure everything is running smoothly before we start. As you can see, these are safe to touch, but keep in mind, they are meant for rocks. They're not meant for your fingers, knees, and toes. So let's get to grinding. A lot of the recordings in this video have been sped up 700%. This is the main reason. The wheel I'm working on right now is the grinding and shaping wheel. This is where you're going to spend most of your time, on this 80 grit wheel. Do not be discouraged if you're even spending 30 minutes to an hour on this wheel, as you want to get the perfect shape, or near perfect. Remember when I said to cut as close as you can to the outline? This is why. It will save you time. In future videos, I'm hoping to come up with a camera angle that will show what I mean by the shaping of the piece itself. But for now, I hope these pictures will help with what I'm trying to describe. You can check out our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about with the pictures of our products. Having an even dome is the key to having little to no scratches. There's not too much more to add except spend the time on these two wheels. First one, 80 grit wheel like I've talked about. Next one, 220 grit wheel, which gets away all the scratches before you start moving on to the soft wheels. The Dremel comes out to get into the more finicky, smaller areas where I just need to do a little bit of rounding that the cabbing machine itself cannot do. I'm using a 220 grit rounded bit with a fairly decent diameter, as I am putting a little bit of pressure on it and I don't want the bit to snap on me and make scratches where I have to go back and redo a lot of work. So this is the 280 grit soft wheel. This is where you start with the polishing phases. It does take a little bit of time on this stage, as this is where you're going to start getting out most of the scratches made from the grinding wheels. The most important hint that I can give you on using these soft wheels is to make sure you're using the whole surface of the wheel. These wheels are not cheap, and you want to make sure that you get the longest life out of your wheels. So make sure to go side to side and just get it drilled into your head. Use the whole surface of the wheel. You're welcome. Are special Dremel bits that I ordered. They're the same thing technically as the soft wheels made for Dremels, where you have 280 grit or whatever grit you like, all the way up to even 50,000 grit, which we're not going to use in this example, but pretty crazy. Use these bits in the exact same order as the soft wheels, and make sure to use adequate amount of water. So here I'm happy with how the 280 grit is worked out, and there's no scratches that I can see. So I'm changing over to my 600 grit bit now, which I like to do prior to going onto my actual 600 grit wheel. There are different preferences for different situations. This is just how I like to do it. And if you're not sure on the process of changing bits on your rotary tool, go check out another YouTube video on that process, as there are different collet sizes, etc. As you're starting to notice, there is a lot of repetition, so you'll get into the habit of just having a lot of patience and just enjoying the whole process itself. Okay, this is where things are going to start to pick up. You don't have to spend as much time on these wheels, as you have already dealt with all the scratchers prior to this point. If you do start to notice more scratches as you progress through the wheels, I suggest take a minute, go back down to 280 and get the scratches out. There's not much more I can tell you guys without getting very repetitive. So I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of this video. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe on all our social media pages, and interact with us. We want to know what you guys want to see. So thank you so much for watching this, and look forward to hearing from you and making more